To start, could you take us back to the beginning? How did your journey as a storyteller begin?
I've always liked to sing and dance and play pretend with my friends. And I think, that I'm originally from North Carolina. So I got involved in theater and improv really
Mm,
young. And my parents are incredibly supportive. And they told me, if I wanted to make a career out of it, um, I should really give it a shot and pursue it, move to New York. And yeah, I came up in 2008 and went to Marymount Manhattan College in the Upper East Side and uh, started meeting some people and working. And uh, about 10 years ago or so now, I auditioned for uh, short film on Backstage that ended up being directed and created by Eric Bloomquist.
mm.
And that was The Cobblestone Corridor. And that picked up by CPTV, Connecticut Public Television, for a first season. And he brought me back to work on that. And we've just really connected. And we started, you know, working on making projects together really closely since then, as well as, doing a lot of theater and working independently, individually in the city and in Connecticut as well.
Yeah. That actually is perfect segue to this next question. But you, Carson, and Eric have been frequent collaborators, and Founders Day has been such a passion project for them. It's been 16 years in the making. When did you first hear about this story, and when did they approach you about playing the deputy?
Well, I've actually I've been hearing about this story for as long as I've known Eric. Eric and Carson. They've really been this was a passion project of them, as well as She Came from the Woods.
Hmm.
Things that were always kind of uh, inevitable. We were trying to build to them. And after our first couple of projects, we started getting our rhythm and seeing a little more momentum for Mainframe Pictures. And we knew, She Came from the Woods and Founders Day were on the horizon. I guess after Woods started in production, this was the summer of 2021. Um, yes, I believe that's right. So that was in post production, and we had already been moving to try to, you know, keep momentum going and try to make another project. And it would just seemed like a natural progression. We'd been working with this kind of concept of single location. Our
Mm.
first feature together was Long Lost, and it all kind of takes place in a house. And then we did 10 Minutes to Midnight. It all kind of takes place in a radio station, which was a little bit bigger. We had a couple more locations within the single, like locations within the location. Um, and then when we went to She Came from the Woods, that was a camp, but it was sprawling. So we had the bunks, we had different parts of the woods, we had the ropes course, we had all of these different places that were still within the location. And Founders Day, we shot in New Milford, Connecticut. It's
Hmm.
a relatively contained town, but within this, kind of single location, we still had that mindset. We had a single base camp for most of the shoot days, and we'd be going to the movie theater, to the bridge, to the police station, the town hall, the town green. Um, so that was kind of it's not really a single location movie at this point, but that's kind of how we've approached
Hmm.
everything together.
And it's grown with scale over time with each project. And I think
Yeah,
what
absolutely.
this film does so brilliantly, it is a love letter to slasher genre while also bringing such a refreshing take. And your character in particular is that perfect representation of that, where we've seen this archetype in the past, but not portrayed in this way. As you were preparing to step into his shoes, how did you want to approach towing that line? And how has that trust that you've built with Eric and Carson over time allowed you to make the creative decisions that you made throughout the film and take agency over this character?
That's a great question. Eric and I and Carson, we talked a lot about kind of the role that both my character and Eric's character play in the town.
Hmm.
And one of the things that we really settled on was we're we're in kind of this middle um, group in the movie. You have the high schoolers who are kind of a half a generation below us, and then you have the politicians, the adults, if you will, that are half a generation above us. So we've kind of talked about how we felt a certain allegiance to this town. I think for
Hmm.
me stepping into Finn Miller, to the deputy, there was something about his allegiance to William Russ's character, as well as to Tyler White's character, um, and wanting to kind of behave in a responsible way to kind of look out for the town in a weird way. And I think that Eric's character Oliver feels the same kind of responsibility.
Like you're a multifaceted storyteller. Have you found that the work that you've done behind the scenes as a producer and writer have influenced the way that you now approach your work on screen and vice versa?
Each project is unique. I've worked on some uh, like in smaller roles on some larger scale projects that it has been definitely more of a machine. So I definitely have an appreciation for working with Mainframe, where we're really a tight crew. The production team in particular, we wear a lot of hats. So we really understand kind of what goes into every day of making a project, of having a company move. And it definitely gives you an appreciation for how much effort it actually takes to for one of these things to move when you're not at this huge scale.
Like you were saying earlier, because your character is that bridge between generations, you get to star opposite almost the entire cast, and there's so many incredible performances across the board. How much of that is feeding off what your scene partners are giving you? And is there a scene in particular that you're really excited for audiences to see now that the film is out in theaters?
It was really incredible working with everyone in this cast. We were, the cast and crew alike were just everyone went above and beyond, and everyone was very giving. A lot. I will say, probably my favorite scene is a scene I have with Andrew, who plays Naomi's father in the movie. He plays Thomas
Mm,
Chambers,
yeah.
and it's a little scene outside of the police station that just it was just such a fun moment to kind of explore because there's so much subtext in the scene.
Yeah.
Um, and Andrew is just such an amazing actor. He's so locked in with you. He's a very, very giving guy. Um, that being said, all of the scenes were a blast. There's a little scene on the bridge with Catherine Curtin and Jace and Arun that was just it's just such. I'll say there's really nobody that I didn't love doing scenes with. One of the hardest things about doing a production at this scale is that sometimes you just want to keep doing the scene dozens of times. You want to keep playing, you want to keep exploring, but you're given a little bit of constraint just in terms of um, the undertaking, the amount of time, the amount of resource that you
Mm.
have.
I feel like Founders Day is going to be such a breakout moment for you and so well deserved. If people are discovering you for the first time, which of your previous projects in your filmography is the next perfect watch and why?
Well, if people are just discovering me for the first time, um, you know, I would like to bill myself as a relatively versatile actor. I think to
Hmm.
highlight that, I would recommend going to see She Came from the Woods next. It's a pretty different character from Deputy Miller. Um, yeah, all of the mainframe stuff has been a very different types. So I've been very fortunate to be able to kind of explore different characters and really have a lot of fun with each of them.
Yeah.
I look forward to doing it more.
Yeah. Speaking of that, what's next for you? And you're such an exciting voice. What's left on your bucket list to either tell in front of or behind the camera?
Feel very fortunate to be working and you know pursuing what I love doing. My real goal would be to continue, make more projects with Mainframe, continue working, on this and that. I like I said before, I like playing pretend and singing and dancing. I think I have definitely been thinking about upping my presence in terms of music. performance. That I'm also a musician, and I don't do a lot of that outside of theater. So I've definitely
Hmm.
been thinking about expanding in that regard a little bit. I think it'd be really fun to do like a movie musical. Um,
Yeah.
but there's nothing that I wouldn't love to try.